Welcome to this special edition highlighting the transformative work of Fairtrade Africa. I'm your host, DONUTS. Today we dive into a story of change, dignity and opportunity in South Africa's wine industry. How the DONUTS program reshaped the lives of farm workers, giving them skills, confidence, and a real voice on the farms where they work. For decades, farm workers in South Africa's wine industry labored quietly, unsure of their rights, often excluded from decisions that shaped their lives. But that began to change with the DONUTS wine program. Dignified opportunities nurtured through trade and sustainability. A fair trade initiative that empowered workers, built skills, and created real opportunities. Though the program has now concluded in South Africa, its impact continues across the continent. Today, we're exploring what changed on the ground through the voices of those who lived it, from farm managers, workers, union representatives, and project leaders. Joining me is Emerentia Potentia, the Senior Project Officer who steered DONUTS Wine through 4 transformative years.
My journey with DONUTS started towards the end of 2019 and appointed as the Senior Project Officer for a project called Dignity for All. They were busy with it for 2 years, and I only had 2 years in a 4-year project that I had to show the Finnish ministry, that there's need for this project, and made good progress. So the project has now come to an end, but we have really achieved significant impact and created rights awareness and capacity building. Also improved sectoral collaboration and cooperation. So much so that we even got a recognition from the National Minister of Employment and Labour and the Minister of Social Development for the work and the mentorship that's been done in the farming community.
But what did that transformation look like on the farms? Dolf Marang from Eensaamheid Wines shares his experience.
The DONUTS project for our workers, it's a very helpful project because the workers didn't know what the laws was before we joined Fairtrade. Now we joined Fairtrade, now everything becomes clear to the workers and why it's strict to Fairtrade. And that's why DONUTS come and make us aware about on our farm workers. So that's why management come on board and say, okay, we're going to go further. And now we are more than 5 years in Fairtrade now. There's help a lot for the workers to grow. And positive mindsets, becoming a farmer, out of his position as a farm worker. They got supervisors in the teams. They got now management in the teams, even directors in the teams. And they become positive about their work. We go to Kenya, have a visit there for the first time to go outside South Africa to meet other people who is also joining in Fairtrade. So we come back and we put it together here, and now we have to work through it to make it count in our work environment.
Kathleen Lewis from Alweer Boerdery agrees.
The DONUTS project empowered the workers because now they know their rights, but also the responsibilities that come with that rights in the workplace. And from what I've seen now, workers is now more confident to address certain issues with management. And communication is now more freely between the worker and management. Like before, they were just a bit shy or don't want to talk about certain issues, but now it's like a two-way street. The communication is flowing now.
And from the union perspective, here's Joan Dowry from Abantu.
For us as Abantu, we only engaged with the DONUTS project since 2023. And the journey started with us, Abantu, and with Fairtrade. We as a trade union, we mobilize in the wine industry. All our farms is not Fairtrade certified. But for us as Abantu, with the standards of Fairtrade, for us to take that forward, and we try to do the marketing with our other farms because that it will lessen our work. Like for instance, you've got the same problems from the one farm to the other farm, But with the Fairtrade standards is in collaboration with the legislation of our laws, like the basic conditions. We've got the sectorial determination and all the acts is there and the Bill of Rights and all that. So with all that and the Labour Relations Act on freedom of association. So for us it's just that the information is just secluded to one section. But if we can move it around the whole wine industry, it will be brilliant.
Charleston Bergstedt from FAO couldn't agree more.
Where we're standing with donuts is a very powerful instrument for us as a union. We use the channel because now Fairtrade is bringing also the farmers, the labor together. But the main point we want to raise is that what coming out of the donuts is that the collective agreement, the bargaining agreement we want to establish in the Western Cape is very powerful.
Beyond policy and training, the program changed lives personally, according to Emerentia.
The Bible says iron sharpens iron. So as much as the workers say that they've learned a lot through the Donuts Project, I've also really learned a lot through them and through the trade unions and through the producers. So really a lovely journey, and it really gave me the platform to just move from just being a facilitator to really a strategic influencer in the industry. It really allowed me to engage with government departments and trade unions and industry leaders and just shaping decisions that really impact thousands of workers.
Kathleen Lewis speaks to the program's life-giving nature.
I think for myself, I feel more empowered. I know my rights, and I also can help someone who is in a gender-based violence situation. I give maybe tips or what to do. I can also recall on the peer-to-peer exchange with Kenya that Dol mentioned earlier on. What I've done there is that just to be grateful to what you've got. I'm grateful for what I've achieved in life. I recently also got my license, not only just the license, but riding a truck, you see. So I feel empowered. That Donuts has empowered my life really, not in just like in the working environment, but also in my personal life. But not only just for myself, I think the other workers also feel empowered and the training they've got from the Donuts.
Julian van Wyk says donuts transformed his life.
Definitely, I would recommend Fairtrade for other farms that are not Fairtrade certified, because Fairtrade help us on our farm specifically. Because before Fairtrade, we didn't know about trade unions, and through the Donuts Project, we met with different types of trade unions. And so we understand our rights on the farms better now than before we had Fairtrade. So I would definitely recommend Fairtrade for farms that are not certified, because not only that, because Fairtrade also gives the opportunity to farm workers' children that is done with school to go and study further with the premium that farm workers get from wines or the products they're selling on the farm.
Dolf Marang further explains.
Emma was visiting one day in Summit, and she asked her workers, how do you really feel when it's so hot on this day? But she take the scissors out of one's hand and say, I want to try this. And as difficult as it is, she try and she do well. But from a worker's point of view, and she can tell you about it, it's not easy in the vineyards. She's really into the workers to get better work performance on our farms.
While the program is concluding in South Africa due to funding, its legacy is clear. Emerentia says it's all about dignity.
Well, to me personally, I think dignity at work means that every person is treated with respect, with fairness, and with humanity, regardless of their roles or their status in life. It's about creating an environment where workers really feel valued, where they feel like they have a voice, they are heard, and where they feel they can also be empowered. They can become somebody on the farm. They don't need to be a general worker for 30, 40, 50 years and retire as a general worker. They can also become the farm manager. They can also become a supervisor. They can also be an HR manager.
In closing, Dolf had this to say.
For the long-term goals for Summit, it was a positive setup for Fairtrade and with the Donuts Project. We barely have hiccups when it comes to courses when our people have to join. Sometimes people can't join because of a difficult schedule, but more than that, we make plans as management and to represent it for the business so that we be informed from all the standards what Fairtrade wants from the farm and the business.
From empowering individual workers to strengthening industry standards, Donuts One and Fairtrade Africa have shown that dignity and sustainability can flourish hand in hand. Real people, real vineyards, and real impact. Thank you for listening to this special podcast edition by Fairtrade Africa. Join us next time as we explore more stories of transformation in agriculture across Africa.